Part 1: The Night Shift. The mop made a soft sound against the marble floor, back and forth, back and forth. Park had done this 1,000 times before. The Galactic Embassy complex was quiet at 3 in the morning. Most of the aliens had gone to sleep. Most of the humans too, but kept working. He had bills to pay. 3 years ago he was a teacher. He taught children how to read and write. He loved that job. But then his wife got sick. The medicine cost too much. The hospital visits cost too much. Everything cost too much. When she died, he had nothing left. No savings, no hope. Just a small daughter named who needed her father to be strong. So became a janitor. The pay was not great, but it was steady. And the embassy complex paid better than most places. Aliens were rich. They did not care if a human cleaned their floors as long as the floors were clean. Tonight was cleaning the observation deck on the 42nd floor. This was his favorite place in the whole building. The glass walls showed the entire city of Seoul below, and above, through the glass ceiling, you could see the stars. Real stars, not the fake ones on screens. His wife had loved stars. He pushed his cart through the automatic doors and stopped. Someone was already there. A girl sat alone by the window. She was not human. Her skin was pale silver like moonlight on water. Her hair was long and white, falling past her shoulders like silk. She wore a dress that looked more expensive than everything owned. Small blue lights glowed softly on her wrists and neck, some kind of alien jewelry or maybe technology. He could not tell. Knew who she was. Everyone in the embassy knew. Princess of the Dominion, daughter of Empress. One of the most important children in the entire galaxy. And also, according to the whispers, completely mute. She had not spoken a single word in 5 years, not since she watched her father die. Should have left. The rules were clear. No contact with royalty, no eye contact, no speaking unless spoken to. They were proud and powerful. They had destroyed entire planets for smaller insults. But looked at the girl, and he did not see a princess. He saw a child sitting alone at 3 in the morning, staring at the moon like it might give her answers. He thought of, if his daughter was alone and scared, he would want someone to be kind to her. So did something stupid. He stayed. He pushed his mop bucket to the far corner and began cleaning. He did not look at the princess. He did not try to talk to her. He just worked like he always did. But after a few minutes, he started to hum. It was an old song, a Korean lullaby that his wife used to sing. The melody was simple and soft. It filled the quiet room like warm water filling a cup. The princess turned her head. She watched him with large eyes that were completely black, like the space between stars. No white part, no colored part, just darkness that reflected the city lights below. Kept humming. He moved his mop in slow circles. He cleaned spots that were already clean just to have something to do. 20 minutes passed. The princess did not move. She did not make any sound. She just watched him like he was the strangest thing she had ever seen. Maybe he was. Guessed that most people treated her like glass, like something precious and broken. They probably bowed and scraped and said careful words. They probably never ignored her. Was too tired to be careful, and too old to be scared. What was the worst they could do? Kill him. Some days that did not sound so bad, at least would get the life insurance money. He finished cleaning and put his mop back in the bucket. Time to go. But as he turned to leave, he noticed something. The princess was shivering. The observation deck was cold. The glass walls let in the chill of the night, and the girl's dress was thin, beautiful but thin. Looked at his own jacket. It was old and worn. The zipper was broken. There was a stain on the sleeve from last week's coffee spill. It was not fit for a princess. But it was warm. He walked over slowly, giving her time to move away if she wanted. She did not move. Her dark eyes followed him, but her body stayed still. He stopped a few feet away and took off his jacket. Very gently, he draped it over her shoulders. The fabric looked wrong against her silver skin and expensive dress, like putting a paper crown on a real queen, but he did not care. The princess looked down at the jacket. Then she looked up at him. Her face showed no expression. They were hard to read, but she did not throw the jacket away. She did not call for her guards. Gave her a small smile. "The stars will still be there tomorrow," he said softly, "but you should rest. Growing up is hard work." He did not wait for an answer. He knew there would not be one. He just took his cart and walked away. At the door he paused and looked back. The princess had pulled his old jacket around herself. She was still staring at the moon, but something was different. Her shoulders were not so stiff. Her hands were not so tight. She looked for just a moment, like a regular kid. Smiled again and left. He did not know that cameras were watching. He did not know that every second of this meeting was being recorded and sent to the royal quarters. He did not know that Empress, the most powerful woman in 3-star systems, was sitting in her private chamber watching the footage. The Empress had not slept in days. She never slept well anymore. Not since her husband died. Not since her daughter stopped speaking. She had tried everything. The best doctors, the best healers, the best therapists from 100 different worlds. Nothing worked. Her daughter was locked inside herself and no one had the key. Now she watched a human janitor give his dirty jacket to her precious child. She watched her daughter accept it without fear or disgust. She watched a stranger show more simple kindness in 5 minutes than all the royal court had shown in 5 years. The Empress leaned forward in her chair. Her hands were shaking. "Who is this man?" she asked the empty room. The computer answered. "Park, human, age 38, occupation, sanitation engineer, night shift, widower, 1 daughter, age 7. A janitor, a nobody, a man who mopped floors for money." And yet he had done what emperors could not. He had made her daughter feel safe. Empress watched the footage again and again. On the 5th viewing she noticed something she had missed before. When smiled at, her daughter's hand had moved slightly, reaching toward him, just a tiny bit, then stopping. It was nothing, it was everything. For the first time in 5 years, the Empress allowed herself to hope. Part 2, Small Kindnesses. The princess started following him. Noticed it on the 3rd night. He was cleaning the east corridor and there she was, standing at the far end, watching. Her guards stood behind her like statues, hands on their weapons, faces blank. He nodded politely and kept working. The next night she appeared in the garden atrium while he was emptying trash cans. The night after that she found him in the library while he was dusting shelves. She never came close. She never made a sound. She just watched. Did not know what to do. He was just a janitor. He did not understand alien princesses or royal politics, but he understood loneliness. He saw it in the way she stood apart from her guards. He saw it in the way her eyes followed his every movement, hungry for something she could not name. So he started talking. Not to her exactly, just out loud, to himself, to the walls, to anyone who might be listening. "My daughter learned to ride a bicycle last week," he said while mopping the floor. "She fell down 6 times, cried every time, but she got back up every time too. Kids are strong like that." The princess listened. Her face showed nothing, but she did not leave. "My wife used to make this soup," continued another night, "with vegetables and rice and some kind of spice I could never figure out. I have tried to make it 100 times. It never tastes the same. I think she took the secret with her." He talked about everything. About school, about the weather, about Earth history and Korean food and old movies he loved. He never asked the princess questions. He never expected answers. He just filled the silence with words like throwing seeds into empty soil. 3 weeks passed, then a month. The guards started to relax. They stopped reaching for their weapons when walked by. One of them, a tall female with 4 arms, even nodded at him once. Just a tiny movement, but it meant something. Then came the night that changed everything. His babysitter got sick. There was no one else to watch her. Could not afford to miss work, not with rent due next week. So he made a decision that probably broke a dozen rules. He brought his daughter to work. Was 7 years old, with messy hair and bright eyes and more energy than a power plant. She thought the embassy was the most amazing place in the world. All the strange aliens, all the pretty lights, all the things she had never seen before. Set her up in the staff break room with her coloring books and snacks. Stay here, he told her. Do not wander, do not touch anything. I will be back in 1 hour. Yes, she said, already pulling out her crayons. He should have known better. 20 minutes later, his radio crackled. Park, report to the East Garden, now. His heart stopped, he ran. The East Garden was a beautiful place. Trees from a dozen different planets, flowers that glowed in the dark, a small stream that sang with artificial fish, and in the middle of it all sat on a bench with Princess. 4 guards surrounded them, weapons drawn. His legs went weak. I am so sorry, he said, rushing forward. She is my daughter. I told her to stay in the break room. I did not mean any disrespect. The head guard, the 4-armed woman, held up her hand. Stop. Stopped. His heart was beating so hard he could feel it in his teeth. The guard looked at him with strange eyes. We did not call you because of danger. We called you because we do not understand what is happening. Looked at the bench, really looked. Had her coloring book open on her lap. She was chattering happily the way she always did. This one is a dragon. I made him purple because purple is the best color. Do you like purple? I think you would look pretty in purple. Your hair is already white, so purple would be really nice. Princess sat perfectly still. She was staring at like she had never seen anything like her before. In her silver hand, she held a purple crayon. His breath caught in his throat. She just walked up to the princess, the guard said quietly. No fear, no bowing, she just sat down and started talking, and then she offered the crayon and the princess. The guard did not finish the sentence. She did not need to. Princess was holding something, on her own, without being told, without being forced. She was participating in the world. Felt tears burn in his eyes. He blinked them away. You can use the purple, was saying. I have another purple at home. This one can be yours. Do you want to color the dragon with me? The princess did not answer. Of course she did not answer. But slowly, very slowly, she leaned forward. She looked at the coloring book. She looked at the dragon outline on the page. And then she touched the crayon to the paper and made a single purple line. Clapped her hands. Good job, you are really good at this. The guard made a sound that might have been a laugh or might have been a sob. It was hard to tell with. Far away in the royal chambers, Empress watched through the security feed. She had not stopped watching since the first night. She had cleared her schedule. She had ignored diplomats and generals and important meetings. Nothing mattered more than this. Her daughter was coloring with a human child. Her daughter was doing something normal, something simple, something that did not involve doctors or treatments or careful observation. The Empress covered her mouth with her hand. Tears ran down her silver cheeks, leaving dark trails. Her whole body shook. Lord, her chief advisor, stood nearby. He was old and wise and had served 3 generations of the royal family. He had never seen the Empress cry, not even when her husband died. Your Majesty, he said carefully, should we intervene, the janitor and his child? No, the word came out fierce and broken. No, leave them alone, do not touch them, do not scare them away. The council will ask questions. A human janitor and his daughter spending time with the princess. Then lie to them. Tell them it is therapy. Tell them it is research. Tell them whatever you need to tell them. The Empress wiped her face with shaking hands. That man has done more for my daughter in 1 month than the entire Dominion has done in 5 years. He will be protected, whatever it takes. Bowed, and if others learn the truth, There are factions who would use this, enemies who would see the princess's condition as weakness. Empress' eyes went cold. The crying woman disappeared, replaced by the ruler who had ended wars and crushed rebellions. Then they will learn what happens when you threaten what belongs to me. She looked back at the screen, where was now teaching how to color inside the lines. The janitor is not to know, not yet, just keep him safe. As you command. In the garden, finally sat down next to his daughter. The guards had backed away. The tension had broken. Now it was just two kids and a tired father sharing crayons under alien trees. She's my friend now, announced. She doesn't talk, but that's okay. My friend at school doesn't talk much either. Some people are just quiet. Looked at the princess. For the first time, he thought he saw something in those dark eyes. Not expression exactly, but presence, like someone waking up from a long sleep. Yes, he said softly, some people are just quiet, and that is okay. Princess kept coloring. The purple dragon slowly came to life under her careful hand. Somewhere above them, hidden cameras recorded everything, and an empress wept with hope. Part 3, The Breaking Point. 2 months passed. Winter came to Seoul, and the city turned gray and cold. His body was breaking. He worked the night shift at the embassy. Then he worked the morning shift at a warehouse across town. Then he came home, made lunch for, walked her to school, and tried to sleep for 3 hours before doing it all again. The money was still not enough. Was sick, not badly sick, not yet, but the doctor said she needed treatment, special medicine, weekly visits, things that cost more money than had ever seen in his life. The insurance did not cover it. Nothing covered it. He sold his wife's jewelry, the wedding ring she had loved so much, the necklace he gave her on their anniversary. Each piece hurt like cutting off a finger, but he sold them anyway. Still not enough. He stopped eating lunch. Then he stopped eating breakfast. He told himself it was fine. He told himself he could handle it. He was strong. He had survived worse. But his hands started shaking when he mopped. His vision went blurry at strange moments. Once, he almost fell down a flight of stairs because his legs gave out. Princess noticed. She always noticed everything. One night, sat in the break room during his short rest period. He had 15 minutes before he had to start cleaning the West Wing. He should have been eating, but he had no food. He just sat there, staring at his phone. There was a picture of on the screen, her last birthday. She was smiling so big, holding a cake that had made himself. It was ugly, that cake, lopsided and messy, but she had loved it anyway. His chest hurt, not from sickness, from fear. What would happen to her if he collapsed? If he could not work anymore? Who would take care of her? The break room door opened. Looked up and saw Princess standing there. No guards, just her, alone in her silver dress and glowing jewelry. She walked over and sat down next to him. She did not ask permission. She just sat the way would sit, like it was the most natural thing in the world. Was too tired to be surprised. The princess looked at his phone, at his picture. Then she looked at his face, at the dark circles under his eyes, at the way his hands would not stop trembling. She did not speak. Of course she did not speak, but she reached out and put her small silver hand on top of his. It was cold, alien cold, but somehow it helped. They sat like that for a long time, two broken people in a quiet room, sharing silence. Finally whispered, "I do not know what to do. I am trying so hard, but I do not know if it is enough." The princess squeezed his hand, just a tiny bit. Then she stood up and walked away. Did not know that she went straight to a terminal and accessed the embassy's database. He did not know that she searched for his file and found some medical records. He did not know that this information would find its way to the Empress within the hour. He just went back to work. 3 days later, there was a reception in the Grand Hall, some kind of diplomatic event. Aliens from a dozen worlds, all dressed in their finest, eating food that cost more than his yearly salary. He was not invited, obviously. He was there to clean up spills and empty trash cans. Invisible. That was how it should be. But then he heard the voice. What a joke! The mighty, brought to their knees by a defective child. Looked up, a creature was speaking, tall and thin with gray skin and too many teeth. Ambassador of the collective, had heard of him, everyone had. He was cruel and powerful and enjoyed hurting others. And right now, he was pointing at Princess. 5 years without a word, continued, loud enough for everyone to hear. The heir to the Dominion, and she cannot even speak. Perhaps the Empress should consider a replacement, a real heir, not this broken, useless thing. The room went quiet. Everyone was watching. The guards looked furious, but they could not act. This was diplomatic territory. Attacking an ambassador would start a war. Princess stood frozen. Her face showed nothing but saw her hands. They were shaking, not from cold, from shame. Something hot and bright woke up in his chest. He put down his trash bag and walked forward. The crowd parted for him, maybe because they were confused, maybe because the look on his face scared them. He did not know. He did not care. He stopped in front of Ambassador and looked up at him. The alien was twice his height. It did not matter. Excuse me, said. His voice was calm and clear. I could not help but overhear. Looked down at him like he was an insect. And who are you supposed to be? Nobody important, just a janitor, smiled. It was not a friendly smile. But where I come from, we have a saying. We do not measure a person's worth by how loud they speak. The ambassador's eyes narrowed. Is that so? Some of the strongest people I have ever known never said a word when it mattered. Thought of his wife, of the last days when she could barely breathe but still held his hand, still looked at him with love. They did not need words, they just showed up. They stayed. That takes more courage than any speech. You dare lecture me, a human, a cleaner of floors, leaned down, his too many teeth glinting. Do you know what I could do to you? Probably a lot of things, shrugged. But it would not change the truth. And the truth is, a child who survives what she survived and still gets up every day, still tries to live, still reaches out to others. That child is stronger than you will ever be. The silence was absolute. No one moved, no one breathed. Then turned and walked away, just like that. Like he had not just insulted one of the most dangerous diplomats in the galaxy, like it was nothing. He picked up his trash bag and went back to work. Ambassador's face twisted with rage. But before he could speak, another voice cut through the room. I think that is enough, Ambassador. Empress had appeared. No one had seen her enter. She stood like a statue of ice, her eyes fixed on. Unless you wish to continue embarrassing yourself in front of my court. Swallowed his words. Even he was not stupid enough to challenge the Empress directly. He made some excuse and left. The reception continued. People pretended nothing had happened. That was how diplomacy worked. But Princess did not move. She stood in the same spot, staring at as he worked. Her dark eyes were wide. Something was happening inside her, something big and important and terrifying. That night she found him in the observation deck. Their place, the place where it all started, was looking at the moon. He did not hear her come in. He did not know she was there until she stood right next to him. I am sorry if I caused trouble, he said quietly. I know I should not have spoken, but I could not just stand there and... He stopped, because Princess had opened her mouth. Her lips were moving, sound was coming out, barely a sound, a whisper, the ghost of a voice that had not been used in 5 years. One word, just one word, but it was enough to change everything. His name, she had said his name. Felt tears spill down his face. He did not try to hide them. He did not care. In the royal chambers, Empress fell to her knees. The screen in front of her showed her daughter speaking. Her daughter who had been silent for so long. Her daughter who everyone said would never recover. The Empress pressed her hands to her heart and wept. Great, shaking sobs that made no sound. 5 years of fear and grief and desperate hope, all pouring out at once. Her daughter had spoken, and it was the name of a human janitor. Part 4: The Weight of Crowns. The guards came for him the next morning. Had just finished his shift. He was walking toward the staff exit, thinking about breakfast, thinking about how tired he was. Then 4 soldiers appeared and surrounded him. His heart stopped. This was it. He had gone too far. He had insulted the ambassador. He had made the princess speak. He had broken 100 rules he did not even know existed. They were going to kill him. "Come with us," the lead guard said, not a request. Thought about who would pick her up from school, who would make her dinner, who would tell her that her father loved her. He wanted to run, he wanted to fight, but what was the point? He could not outrun aliens, he could not fight soldiers. So he followed them, through corridors he had never seen, past doors that required codes and scans and permissions, deeper and deeper into the royal section of the embassy, where humans never went. Finally, they reached a door made of something that looked like frozen light. It opened, and the guards pushed him inside. The room was beautiful, tall ceilings, walls that shifted with soft colors, furniture that seemed to float, and standing in the center, waiting for him, was Empress. Had seen her before, but only from far away. Up close, she was terrifying, tall and perfect, with silver skin darker than her daughter's, eyes like black holes, a face that showed nothing. He dropped to his knees, not because he wanted to, because his legs gave out. "Your Majesty," he said, his voice was shaking. "I am sorry. Whatever I did, I am sorry. Please, I have a daughter. She needs me, please." The Empress looked at him for a long moment. Then she did something he did not expect. She bowed. Not a small nod, a real bow, the kind of bow that royalty only gave to equals. "Please stand," she said. Her voice was soft, musical. "You have nothing to apologize for." Stared at her. He did not understand. He could not understand. "You have done what 1,000 healers could not," the Empress continued. "You have done what 100 therapists could not. You have done what 5 years of the finest physicians in the galaxy could not." She stepped closer. Her dark eyes were wet. "You gave my daughter her voice." His mind went blank. I did not do anything special." "No," the Empress smiled. It was a sad smile full of old pain. "You talked to her. You told her stories. You shared your life with her like she was any other child. Do you know how rare that is?" "I do not understand." "To the galaxy, my daughter is a symbol, a political asset, a future empress. When she stopped speaking, she became a problem to be solved, a broken thing to be fixed." The Empress's voice cracked. "But to you, she was just a lonely child, and you treated her with kindness. Simple, ordinary kindness, the kind that costs nothing and means everything." Felt tears on his face again. He was crying a lot these days. "She spoke your name last night," the Empress said. "Her first word in 5 years, and it was the name of a human janitor who gave her his jacket and told her to rest." She reached out and took his hands. Her skin was cold but her grip was warm. "I want to give you something, anything. Name it. Wealth, property, citizenship in the Dominion, a position of honor in my court. Whatever you want, it is yours." Thought about it, he really did. The money would save, the position would give them security. They would never have to worry again. But then he thought about what his wife would say. She always said the same thing. "We do not need much, just enough to be together." "Your Majesty," he said carefully, "I am grateful, truly, but I do not need those things. I just need to take care of my daughter. That is all I have ever wanted." The Empress stared at him. "You would refuse the gratitude of the Empire." "Not refuse, just redirect," smiled weakly. "Use it on someone who needs it more than me. There are a lot of people in this world who have nothing. I have, that is enough." The Empress was silent for a long moment. Then she laughed, a real laugh, bright and surprised. Humans, she said, shaking her head. I have met warriors and kings and gods, but I have never met anyone like you. She released his hands and stepped back. Her face was serious again, but different now, softer. Very well, I will not force you, but know this. You have a friend in the Dominion. If you ever need anything, anything at all, you have only to ask. Bode, thank you, Your Majesty. One more thing, the Empress hesitated. My daughter has asked for something, her first request in 5 years. She wants to continue seeing you and your daughter. She wants to be your friend. His heart swelled. Of course, would love that. She already thinks of as her best friend. Then it is settled. The Empress nodded to the guards. Escort him out, and make sure he is treated with respect. He is a guest of the royal family now. Left the royal chambers in a daze. He could not believe what had just happened. He was alive. He was free. And somehow he had made friends with an Empress. He did not know that had given orders the moment he left. He did not know that messages were being sent to hospitals and schools and banks. He did not know that his life was about to change. The next day, a letter arrived at his apartment from the city hospital, had been accepted into a special program, a scholarship program for children with medical needs. All treatments would be covered. All medicines would be free. Read the letter 3 times. Then he sat down on the floor and cried. There was no mention of the Empress, no mention of aliens or empires, just a form letter talking about community support and philanthropic initiatives. But he knew exactly where this had come from. That night, he went to work with a lighter heart than he had felt in years. He mopped the floors and cleaned the windows and hummed his wife's lullaby. And when Princess appeared in the observation deck, he smiled at her. Thank you, he said quietly. She tilted her head, pretending not to understand. I know it was you, or your mother, the hospital programs, treatment. He shook his head. I said I did not need anything, but you gave it anyway. Looked at him with her dark eyes. Then slowly she moved her lips, a whisper, barely a sound. Friends, help, friends. 3 words, more than she had spoken to anyone in years. Felt his heart break and heal at the same time. Yes, he said, friends help friends. He opened his arms, an invitation, not a demand. Hesitated, then she stepped forward and let him hug her, just for a moment, just a small connection between 2 lonely souls. Somewhere above them, Empress watched through the cameras. Her advisor stood beside her, waiting for orders. He refused everything, said. Wealth, power, position, he refused it all. Yes, the Empress agreed. I do not understand humans. Smiled, neither do I, but I am starting to learn. She looked at the screen, where her daughter was being held by a human janitor. He is the first person since her father who has asked nothing from her, and that is exactly what she needed. Was quiet for a moment. Then he said, the galaxy would be different if more people were like him. Yes, the Empress said softly, it would. She turned off the screen and went to bed. For the first time in 5 years, she slept without nightmares. Part 5, What Humanity Means. 6 months changed everything. Still worked at the embassy, but his title had changed. Cultural Liaison Support Staff, his new badge said. He still mopped floors and cleaned windows, but now he had normal hours, good pay, and health insurance that covered everything. He pretended not to know where the promotion came from. Some things were better left unspoken. Was healthy. The treatments worked. The doctors said she would be fine. Every morning woke up and thanked whoever was listening for that small miracle. And Princess was speaking. Not to everyone, not in public, but within she talked almost like a normal child. Her voice was still soft, still careful, like she was testing each word before letting it out. But it was there, real and present and growing stronger every day. She came to their apartment sometimes. She sat at their small kitchen table and ate Korean food and listened to endless stories about school. She learned to use chopsticks. She learned to play board games. She learned what it meant to have a family that was not trying to prepare her for a throne. "Is teaching me to write alien letters," announced one evening. "Look." She held up a paper covered with strange symbols. "Beautiful," said. He had no idea what the symbols meant, but his daughter was happy. That was enough. "I am teaching a song," said quietly. "A song about the stars. Will you sing it for me?" Shook her head. "Not yet, I am not ready." "That is okay," smiled. "Whenever you are ready, no rush." The Centennial Peace Summit was the biggest event in the embassy's history. Leaders from 100 worlds came together to celebrate peace and cooperation, and all those things that politicians like to talk about. Was working that day, double shift, lots of important people making lots of messes. He did not mind. The overtime pay was good. He had set up in the staff break room with her books and snacks, had promised to visit later after the official ceremonies were done. Everything was normal. Everything was fine. Then the explosion happened. Felt it before he heard it, a shudder through the floor, then screaming, then alarms. He ran toward the break room. His heart was pounding so hard it hurt. He had to get to. The corridor was chaos, people running everywhere, smoke filling the air. Another explosion closer this time. Part of the ceiling collapsed, blocking his path. He screamed, "YUNA!" He tried to climb over the rubble. His hands were bleeding. He did not care. He had to get through. He had to find his daughter. A piece of the ceiling fell. He looked up and saw it coming, too slow to move, too slow to dodge. Then someone grabbed him and pulled him back. It was one of the guards, the four-armed woman who had watched him for months. She said something he did not understand and pushed him toward a side corridor. "The break room," he said desperately. "My daughter is in the break room. We know, we are getting her, but you need to move, now." Another explosion. The whole building shook. Somewhere someone was screaming about an attack, about terrorists, about revenge for old wars. Let the guard lead him. He had no choice, but his mind was only with. They reached a safe room. Thick walls, emergency lights. Dozens of people huddled together, waiting for rescue. And there in the corner was Princess. She was pale even for her hands were shaking. Her eyes were wide with fear, but when she saw, something changed in her face. She whispered, "They cannot find." His world collapsed. Where is she? Where was she last seen? The corridor, the one that collapsed. His voice was getting louder, stronger. The guards tried to reach her, but the rubble is too heavy and they cannot get through, and she is trapped and nobody is helping. And she was screaming now, actually screaming. Full voice, loud and clear and terrified. And something strange happened. The lights in her jewelry, the glowing blue marks on her wrists and neck, started pulsing. Faster and faster. Then they flashed bright and her voice echoed through the entire building. Save them now, royal command. Save the child in the east corridor now." The words were in, but everyone understood, because was not just speaking. She was commanding. Using the royal authority chips that had been embedded in her since birth, chips that could control the military, chips that had been silent for 5 years. Until now. Across the embassy, every soldier stopped what they were doing. The princess had spoken. The princess had given an order. For the first time in 5 years, the royal heir was awake. They moved like water through the building. 20 soldiers reached the collapsed corridor in less than a minute. They tore through the rubble with their 4 arms and their alien strength. They found in the break room, hiding under a table, scared but alive. They found 2 following behind them despite orders to stay back. They let him through. They understood. When reached his daughter, he fell to his knees and held her so tight he thought they might merge into one person. She was crying. He was crying. It did not matter. "I am here," he said. "Is here, you are safe, you are safe." Later, after the terrorists were caught and the building was secured, and the summit continued as if nothing had happened, there was a ceremony. Princess stood before the assembled leaders of 100 worlds. Her mother stood beside her, silent and proud, and spoke. 5 years ago I watched my father die. I was there when they killed him. I saw everything. Her voice was clear now, strong. It filled the great hall like music. After that I stopped speaking. I thought if I was quiet enough, the pain would go away. I thought if I disappeared inside myself, nothing could hurt me again. The room was absolutely silent. Every leader, every diplomat, every soldier was watching her. I was wrong, looked at standing in the back within his arms. A human taught me that, a janitor, a man who cleans floors for a living. He did not try to fix me. He did not try to cure me. He just talked to me. He shared his stories. He shared his daughter. He shared his life. Tears were running down her silver face. She did not wipe them away. He taught me that strength is not about power. It is not about armies or empires or how loud you can shout. Strength is about showing up. Strength is about staying when everyone else leaves. Strength is about being kind to someone who is broken, even when you are broken yourself. She turned to face the crowd fully. That is what humanity means. That is what we should all try to be. The applause was deafening, but barely heard it. He was looking at the little princess he had met on a cold night, alone and silent and lost. And he was seeing the young woman she was becoming. Strong, brave, full of light. Tugged his sleeve. Why is everyone clapping? Because gave a very good speech. Oh, thought about this. Can we get ice cream after? Laughed. Some things never changed. Later that night, Empress found him in the observation deck. Their place. The place where everything had started. You saved my daughter, she said, again. Shook his head. She saved herself, and she saved I did nothing. You did everything. The Empress stood beside him, looking at the stars. I have a question that has been haunting me for months. How did you know? How did you know what she needed? Was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, after my wife died, I did not speak for 3 months. I could not. The words were there, but they would not come out. It was like my voice had died with her. What brought you back? He smiled at the memory. She did not try to make me talk. She did not ask me questions or push me to get better. She just sat with me, colored her pictures, waited. Sometimes she would hold my hand. Sometimes she would fall asleep in my lap, but she never left. He looked at the Empress. Sometimes that is all anyone needs. Someone who stays, someone who is patient, someone who sees you as a person, not a problem. Empress was crying again. The most powerful ruler in 3 star systems, crying in front of a human janitor. Thank you, she whispered, for everything. Thank you, he replied, for letting me be part of her life. They stood together in silence, watching the stars. The moon hung low on the horizon, silver and beautiful and eternal. Somewhere in the embassy, and were eating ice cream and laughing about something silly. 2 girls from different worlds, connected by something stronger than blood or politics or power. Connected by kindness. And that was enough. That was more than enough. That was everything. In the end, it was so simple. A tired man, a lonely princess, a little girl with purple crayons, and the understanding that every person, no matter how broken, deserves someone who stays. That is what humanity means. That is what we should all try to be.